Right, keeping in theme with last week's video, we have another controversy involving a snowflake that just doesn't know when to shut the fuck up with virtue signaling.
Fucking suck.
Now, I already know who Caleb Hammer is. I don't really watch any of his videos. I've seen a few clips of him, but I don't really watch him as like a fan or anything like that. But I do think what he does like on financial audit is a good thing, you know, just helping people with their financial troubles. And he would do it the same way I do. If someone does something fucking stupid, I will tell them, hey, you are fucking stupid. Why are you spending your money on this bullshit?
Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Now, on the other hand, this other person involved in the drama, this other bloke, D'Angelo Wallace. Yeah, I've never heard of him before, never seen him. I don't know what his content's. Basically, D'Angelo is accusing Caleb Hammer of being racist, sexist, and homophobic. I think that's it. A pretty stacked list of accusations if you ask me. Now, there's already a bit of back and forth that already happened. So basically, D'Angelo started doing this on a live stream, which I'm not going to bring up. You can watch that because it's like way too fucking long. But I'm pretty sure there'll be points that get brought up anyway. Fucking Caleb Hammer then did a 4-hour live stream reacting to all these accusations.
Holy shit.
That was way too fucking long. I'm not watching all of that. So luckily, there's sort of shorter videos that D'Angelo did that I've seen, and also these other YouTubers already covered this topic, like in Diesel Patches and Sensitive Society. So that helps out quite a bit. They sorted through some of the muck that I can actually fucking understand what the hell's going on without wasting my entire night. But enough wasting time here. Let's actually get into this and fucking... hopefully my brain cells will still be around after this bullshit. Fuck, how much pink do you fucking want, cunt? Holy shit.
It is to the point where people in his audience were begging him, Caleb, please just stop pausing the video every 5 seconds. This is going to take forever. Would you let it play so we can hear what D'Angelo was saying before you go off and start screaming? And this was Caleb's reaction to his fans asking him to do that.
Let 30 seconds play. Fuck you. Unsubscribe. I don't care. Get out of here, bitch. I'm doing a reaction to someone talking shit about me. I'm gonna do it how I want, you little fuck.
I actually agree with D'Angelo on this point because holy shit, it does not take you 4 hours to reply to this sort of drama, mate. Also, I hate the way he went off on his subscriber just then, trying to give a point like, hey, you're taking a little bit too long. Do you mind just, you know, getting through your points instead of hanging on about this for so long? Like, even if he's just being performative like he does in these other videos, which he admits to, he's just doing it for content, you're still being a fuckwit and a dick just there. Like, don't be such an asshole.
Every single guest that comes on Financial Audit, which is going to blow your mind, includes the women. One, are fans of the show. They know the content and the thumbnails and the conversations and the jokes. Number two, they get a phone call, 3 phone calls from us?
Minimum.
3 phone calls, and we tell them how crazy the episode's going to be and how the thumbnails and titles are gonna be, and we ask if they're okay with it. They say yes, and then we move forward. If they say no, we don't put them through that situation because we don't want to pressure people who don't consent. And then they sit in front of me, and I ask them, hey, before we start filming, do I have consent to make fun of you and make a thumbnail and call you names and make it goofy and jokey? And then I give them consent to do for me. They know everything. You're acting like they are victims. D'Angelo, your consent does not matter for a Financial Audit episode when they consented and I consented.
But the problem that D'Angelo has is not so much the individual that's getting made fun of, it's more like the words that Caleb is using that describes someone as a whole. So like saying like a whole group of people saying like, oh, he's just being racist because he used this word. Or like this fucking stupid point. Oh, he keeps calling these women bitches. He's being sexist.
My point is that Caleb is playing into an ecosystem of misogynist content by appealing to people who hate women, want to see them get called the B word on the thumbnail or in the title, say you hate them, etc. The actual individual opinions of the people in the video have quite little to do with what I was saying.
Which has got to be one of the dumbest points I've ever heard in my life of trying to classify someone as sexist. Like, dude, not only women can be called bitches, I can call you a dumb bitch for making this video. I can call a random bloke on the street a dumb bitch. Anyone can get it, dude. It's not gender specific. And just say for the sake of this argument that it is gender specific, you're still not being sexist because you're calling a woman a bitch. The same way I'm not being sexist for calling a bloke a dick. It is not being sexist. Also, you act like it's only the women that he calls stupid names. Like, there are so many thumbnails where he makes fun of a bloke for being stupid. And, like, there's even some where it's like, oh, he calls, like, the husband a beta cuck. and calling the woman a bitch at the same time. It's like he's going after both of them, but you're not saying anything for the bloke because that's not virtue signaling enough for you because, oh, we don't want to deal with the white man. Nah, he's too privileged. We don't want to defend him or anything like that. That's the whole thing you're doing. You're just making a whole show and you're grandstanding because you're fucking narcissistic, dude. If you thought that wasn't dumb enough, this D'Angelo bloke reckons that SJW is specifically tied to minority groups, which he calls women, blacks, and gays and all that.
This dude is making anti-SJW content.
Yep.
We don't listen to people that look like you anymore. I don't know if you know this. You've lost all the power.
What does that even mean? Is it a woman thing?
No, SJW thing. The first
So you're sexist.
that I said SJW. Is that women?
Well, I mean,
Yes, Caleb. SJW does mean woman. SJW means woman, person of color, queer person, any sort of possible minority. Just gets labeled an SJW for merely existing. Queer person, any sort of possible minority. Just
no,
get-
it doesn't. It is not a group. It is social justice warriors. Is that a protected class?
I'm not even kidding when I say that I had the exact same reaction that Caleb and all of his other friends had, like listening to that fucking verbal diarrhea. D'Angelo, do you not realize what SJW stands for? It means social justice warrior. That is not specifically tied to any minority group or anything like that. A literal white dude could walk up to you right now and give you a whole spiel and a whole lecture about, you know, social justice and all that sort of stuff. He doesn't exactly have to be a black or a gay man. Like, even I know the fucking difference between that. Jesus Christ. Also, SJWs nowadays are mostly just these fucking losers. They're absolute snowflakes. They can't take a joke and just want to ruin people's lives over just said joke. Just so they feel better about themselves for whatever virtual signaling they want to do. That's all they are. That's all they ever will be. So that's done with the sexism part, but the other parts that D'Angelo is accusing him of is being homophobic.
As a presentation, it's more so getting people who actually are toxic and labeling them, oh, you're LGBT. $369,000 of LGBTQIA plus debt. He's just bad with money and not nice to his partner. Why are you making this a gay thing?
Because he's literally fucking gay.
You fucking idiot. No wonder you can't get a job, you fucking idiot.
Like, the same argument can be made with what we did with the whole sexism part. Just because he put in the title the fuck, I'm not gonna do that. Gay. Just because you put the gay word in the title does not mean he's making fun of gay people as a whole, mate. What he's saying is he's just describing them as the gays, right? That's all it is. I could make the same video and say, oh, this black person did this, but I'm not saying that all black people do what he does. I'm just being descriptive. Even though I think that's a weird title to make, that's a weird thing to add, it's not inherently being sexist or, in this case, homophobic.
So here he is talking to a woman about her autistic child.
That has so.
she's not.
Well, but you're getting payments. Well, that's not a bad thing.
Here we get this weasel behavior that you get with all dudes like this, where they can't actually stand tall in their douche hood, if you will. And it has to be like, oh, I wasn't being bad. I wasn't saying it bad.
So mean.
Well, no,
My
I was meaning it in the clinical. The clinical sense is
No.
mental retardation.
Autism is not mental retardation. There's two. That's two.
I'm-
I'm not gonna comment on that.
Infuriating. I mean, have we already sort of covered like homophobia, ableism in here, misogyny? I don't even think I've showed you guys a sum total of 2 minutes of this guy's content. He just called this woman's child a slur.
I said it for an outrageous moment that she consented to. I talked to her about it before we started filming.
Now, this part will shock you. This point, I actually mostly agree with D'Angelo on this one, where he's talking about him being... Well, I'm not saying that I agree with him calling Caleb ableist, but I do think that this clip was a bit... That was a bit rough. Now, it's not so much that I think that saying the word retard is bad. I don't really care. Like, I say that to my friends all the time. Like, they do something dumb, I go like, well, that was retarded. I bet you won't do that again. But in saying that, I wouldn't go up to a disabled person and call him a retard to his face. The same way I won't go up to a black dude and call him the N-word to his face. Like, that's just obviously wrong, and that's obviously fucked up. It's more the fact that Caleb thinks that him asking for permission from the mum to call the autistic kid retarded, like, over and over again as, like, a funny, outrageous moment, even though, like, I'm all for jokes and, you know, comedy's subjective and all that. Still, imagine, like, your parents are just going out and calling you retarded the whole fucking day, just some random strangers you don't even know, without you actually, you know, having any knowledge of it whatsoever. That's a bit shit for the kid. So even though that's like might be funny in concept, it's like, man, that kid really didn't deserve that, eh? And on this next point, we're going on about how he thinks Caleb is racist.
Look at that. Look how different.
Oh my gosh.
That was in Vietnam. He proposed to me in Vietnam
one,
earlier
yeah.
this year.
Oh, he's such a little gay boy.
Little gay.
Oh, he was! He just looked like a little gay Asian. Stereotypically, I'm making a stereotypical joke.
And then he just goes on and mocks the guy's accent.
I'm just seeing the picture. To be very clear, it's just you have an idea and he's like, okay.
No, why does he have that accent?
Because he was born and raised in Vietnam.
Also, he's racist.
There it is. There it is. How many minutes in? How many minutes in? It's gonna take him to call Caleb race.
Now, doing accents as a joke, that is completely fine. That is not inherently racist at all. That's not you saying like anything bad about their, you know, accent or anything like that. That's literally just how they sound. That's literally how they talk. And like just making a joke about that is not something to cry over, alright? Again, none of your business. You're not fucking Vietnamese. Why are you grandstanding? And I can tell you right now, being Australian, I know what it's like to have my accent getting taken the absolute piss out of as a joke. And you know what? I don't care. I find it funny. It is a joke. I am not a spineless snowflake like you that gets offended on everything on behalf of everyone. And you know what? Just to prove my point here, I can make an American accent for you, and I can guarantee you won't get upset over that because it won't be virtual signaling enough for you because I'm not making fun of a Japanese or, say, a Vietnamese accent. Here we go. Hey, y'all, I'm from Texas. You want to come down to the rodeo? Like, that, you're not going to get offended over that, are you? Because I'm making fun of a white American man and not a Vietnamese or an Asian person in general. You won't make a big issue out of that because you are just a narcissist that likes to grandstand. And just for an extra fuck you, I will do a Japanese accent. Hello, Daniel-san. You must come home to complete your training. And guess what? It's a joke. And I don't mean any ill will to Japanese people. I am just taking the piss, like I do with everyone. Everyone gets it. Now, everyone has a right to critique someone's humor. Like, D'Angelo has as much a right as anyone else to say, like, oh, I don't like his humor, I don't find it funny. But the problem is, he is not saying why it's bad or anything like that. He's just kind of, like, showing these clips and then saying, like, oh, this is racist, oh, this is sexist. Oh, I don't have to tell you why, though. Like you just look. My audience can fill in the gaps for you. That's pretty much all he does. He does very surface-level investigations, pretty much just goes on a channel and just looks over these small clips as a whole, doesn't bother to explain much about why this is sexist or racist or anything like that. He just goes on blaming people, throwing out names, like these sort of people always do, where they just grandstand and are just narcissistic as fuck. That's all he's doing, and that's the problem I had with it. Even though I do agree that what Caleb said before about the autistic child being retarded, that was a bit of a low blow, and that was a bit weird that the mum agreed to that. That was strange. Even though that's like, you know, funny moments and whatever, sometimes the joke doesn't just land. That was still just a bit weird for the kid's part. But the next biggest part of the drama, though, is when Caleb is threatening to sue D'Angelo for defamation.
Every single aspect of it, none of it is real. You have
A literal liar. And actually, that's a lie against our business. I could sue you for that. And maybe I will. I have unlimited money.
chat. This is 90% off. You're getting you only have to pay 10% of the actual value.
Has this man never seen the sales page?
I can't sit here and call this a scam.
You should, so I can sue you.
Definitely sit here and say, this is predatory. This is predatory.
Okay, there you go. Lawsuit number 3. Keep it going. Can't wait to have all your money, if there's any.
It just straight up is. This is obviously.
He's saying it's a scam. Dude, do you not know what you are doing right now? You are literally walking yourself into a I'm talking to my lawyers on Monday or Tuesday, whichever one I have more time on. Listen, I'm not promising I'm suing you, but I'm promising I'm talking to my lawyers about suing.
There's been another fuck up.
Now, on this point, I can kind of see where D'Angelo's coming from, because $1,000 for a fucking finance course, that just seems so counterintuitive to what that's supposed to help you with. You spend $1,000 on this course just to be like, hey, do this with your money instead of this. It just kind of seems that simple, and he literally has a show that you can watch for free that gives you a general idea of what not to do with your money and what to do with it. So yeah, that kind of seemed a bit sketchy. Like $1,000 shouldn't cost that much for a fucking finance course, but apparently it does. But yeah, Caleb's reaction saying like, "Oh, I can sue you for this," that was fucking just that was fairly cringe, to be honest with you. Like, it just seems very silly and like a bit of an overreaction to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna sue you because you're talking shit about my product." It's like, dude, he called you a bunch of this other different shit, like racist, homophobe, and all that. Everyone on Twitter would do that to you. All these fucking activists would do that to you anyway. It doesn't matter. There's no point in fucking suing these people. They will never learn. Talking to these people doesn't really help. But also, even though I don't think I'd ever like this guy, D'Angelo, I don't think we'd ever agree on anything, I would never try and sue him because I don't want to ruin his his life. I don't want to ruin it or anything like that. Even though I wouldn't like him as a friend or like want to hang out with him, I don't want to ruin his life. I don't care that much about it. It's not that big of a fucking deal. And to be fair, he did retract his statement saying like, "Oh, I'm not actually going to try and sue him," all that, backtracking. Fair enough, good that you owned up to that. But the one part was like, he basically said is a pretty shitty excuse. A lawsuit tends to give another creator more drama to react to, so it's more likely that nothing will happen. But there's literally clips of Caleb being all like, "Oh, this is great content for us. Oh, thank you for that." So that seems like a bit of a shit excuse. He wants the content anyway, and this would just generate more of it if he actually went through with the lawsuit.
You are not
Caleb, I'm telling you, he watches clips.
That's it.
You're a clip watcher, honey, and that's okay. We love you. We support you. We still cash those checks.
Yes, thank you, D'Angelo. You're also giving us content to react to here because this is the easiest content I've ever done. I've never been given something such a
So if he just said like, "Oh, I overreacted on my part. I apologize. I'm not going to sue you," then that'd just be fine. But whatever. He retracted it. So take that with what you will. So yeah, both sides had some really good points. Caleb had more good points than fucking D'Angelo. Although I will admit that Caleb's responses to this were sort of a bit weak and a bit cringe, like, a lawsuit and all that sort of stuff, especially with that autistic kid. Like, that was fucking weak. But I do believe D'Angelo is more so in the wrong here, mainly because this whole accusations of Caleb being racist and homophobe, all that, it just seems like massive grandstanding, narcissism, and just an excuse to virtue signal about all these points that he believes in. But he fails to provide sufficient enough evidence to prove that Caleb is all these things that D'Angelo is claiming him to be. So some main points I took away from watching this whole drama: stop trying to ruin people's careers by giving them false accusations, and especially not provide any evidence to your claims. But also, stop pretending this is nothing more than you trying to virtue signal for a group of people that you want to appease. And you have no right to tell people what they should or shouldn't be offended by, especially when they already know about the joke that's being told beforehand and they completely consent to it all. Like, you have no right to tell people what they should or shouldn't feel. Alright, comedy is subjective. Let them have what they want, and if you don't like the joke, fuck off. And last thing is, don't try to fucking give people lawsuits just because they don't agree with it or they say not so nice things about you, even though it might seem like defamation. Sometimes it's just really not that fucking worth it.